Hello everyone. Normally you don't see my face. Normally you only hear my voice on my stream or in one of the YouTube videos I do where I actually use my camera here. But I felt compelled to make this video where you could see my face in its entirety because of how the Ohio State Buckeyes got the short end of the stick in the college football playoff selection system earlier today. Now, full disclosure, I am a fan of the Oregon Ducks, although I am currently going to Oregon State University simply because they have the teaching program that I want to pursue, that I'm a part of. So it's just the way it worked out. And I don't mind either school, but anyway, so that's just for disclosure so you don't think there's any bias on my part. I'm not a fan of Ohio State either, because I don't like or appreciate the mentality that so many seem to have, that anybody west of the Rockies, anybody on the West Coast outside of maybe USC, maybe Oregon, not so much the last couple of years, but maybe Stanford, but really outside of those schools, nobody on the West Coast can play football. Nobody deserves to be on the same stage as the bigger schools, the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, none of that. No, I don't like that attitude, so I just have a natural dislike for most of those schools. Not all of them, just the ones whose fans express that attitude. But like I said, Ohio State got the short end of the stick on the selection process because, as some of you might be aware, the top four teams, the four teams that are going to be in the college football playoff starting at the end of this month into January, the first part of January. Clemson number 1, Oklahoma number 2, Georgia number 3, and Alabama number 4. Now, all this stuff I'm going to quote to you is easily found, and I will try to remember to list the websites, links, and all that in the description of this video. But here's the thing, here's the problem. Clemson won the ACC, great. Oklahoma, they won their conference, great. Georgia won the SEC, great. But there's a problem. Georgia and Alabama are in the same conference. Georgia already won the SEC. Alabama did not win its conference, again, the SEC. Ohio State, at number 5, they did win their conference, and yet they're out. Let's see, how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 conferences that are considered FBS conferences, Division I, like it used to be called. The 9 conferences that are FBS conferences that have a conference championship game. Clemson, number 1. Oklahoma, number 2. Georgia, number 3. Ohio State, number 5. USC, number 8. Boise State, number 25. Now that's only, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's only 7. The other two schools from the other two conferences are Florida Atlantic and Toledo. Now, what I'm proposing wouldn't have any widespread implications this year. The way it needs to be, you should. I know winning your conference is taken into account, and I'm not proposing to dismantle the college football playoff ranking system. I'm not proposing to dismantle the ranking system at all. Keep the ranking system, but here's how it needs to work. At the end of the year, you look at the winners of each conference, FBS conference, in this case, like I said, Clemson, UCF, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Florida Atlantic, Toledo, Boise State, USC, Georgia. You look at those nine schools, You say, okay, according to the rankings, where do they slot in at the rankings? Clemson, Oklahoma, Georgia, that's fine. Alabama is number 4, Ohio State number 5. No. Ohio State won their conference. They should be the ones that are in. That's it. At the end of the year, you look at the college football rankings. You say, okay, where are each of the conference champions located within the top 25? If there's only, in this case, like this year, there's only 7 of the 9 conference champions in the top 25. But you take a look at how that all stacks up, and you say, okay, one conference champion, they're here, they're here, they're here, they're here, they're here. And it doesn't matter if, like in this case, USC's number 8, UCF's number 10. If they were one of the top 4, based on the fact that because they'd won their conference championship, then that's it. Then they should be in. Plain and simple. The way the college football playoff rankings need to be from now on, just for the sake of fairness, you have to win your conference championship, and then once the season is completely over, championship weekend is done, then you say, okay, what are the rankings? Who are the conference champions? Where do the conference champions stack up in the rankings? And it doesn't matter if you have the top 3 teams, number 1, 2, and 3, at the very top of the list. If the fourth highest conference champion is only, say, number 7, then guess what? Whoever may be ranked 4, 5, and 6, if they didn't win their conference, then guess what? Number 7 as conference champion, they should be the final team in the playoff. That's the way it should be, if only for the sake of fairness. Plain and simple. I don't know, But, because it's Alabama, of course they got in. Now, I know that the same thing happened with Ohio State and Penn State last year, so there are going to be people crying, oh, karma, karma, karma. But you know what? 2 wrongs don't make a right. Just because Ohio State was able to get away with it this year doesn't make it okay for Alabama to have gotten away with it this year. It needs to change. Like I said, if only for the sake of fairness.